And welcome to Hero Power. I am your host, Avantes, and as always, I am joined by my co-hosts, Zeroshio, who is
Yo,
muted.
yo, what is up? Sorry, I hit the unmute.
Wasn't me, wasn't Versika
Yeah.
this week.
It was me.
And,
What is up, gang? What is
What
up?
a start.
and our other co-host, the creative one on the show, Versika.
So I'm the other guy now. I see how it is.
You're the other guy, the other creative
I'm the
guy.
other guy.
The other white meat.
So we have,
Interesting fact, real quick. So I was watching River Monsters the other day. Surprise, surprise.
Surprise,
So
surprise.
he was fishing for barracuda in the Florida Keys.
Why?
Also, surprise, surprise. So it turns out that he was talking to cannibals in some other area when he was fishing for some kind of catfish that like to eat people, and evidently we taste like pork. Cannibals say humans taste like pork. Imagine that. I would have sworn it was chicken.
With as much
everything
bacon
else
as
tastes
I
like
eat,
chicken.
I am not surprised.
Yeah.
Evidently we taste like bacon. No wonder the sharks like us.
There you go.
That's right. That's why I don't go to the beach. I don't even touch the water. Like, buffet, look at that guy.
Versika shared a post yesterday about a 10-foot white shark being found in 3 feet of water in Daytona Beach.
Yep.
That's scary stuff. So
That is a gigantic jar of nope.
yeah. So welcome to the
3
Shark
feet.
Cast.
3 feet of water. It's to have a shark that big in 3 feet of water.
Because they have
was
to
just
keep moving constantly to stay
surprising.
alive.
So.
Yeah.
All right,
Crazy.
guys.
All right, so back to Hearthstone.
We have
This
a
is not
great
the Shark
show
Podcast.
planned for you tonight. We have a little bit of news, a little bit of discussion, and then we've got a great deck list we want to talk about that was actually one of our patrons used last month to climb to Legend. And so we'll talk more about that when we get there. But first off, normally I would throw it to Versika,
I want to take it this week.
but this week we're going to let Zeroshio tell you about his experience purchasing his brand new Viforce machine.
So if you're in our patron Discord, you'll probably be privy to a lot of the wonderful artwork that I have posted there. I have had a custom, I had a artist custom paint the casing for my computer. I got that casing back when I purchased my wife's computer, and if you listen to previous episodes, I've told you about that. I then, once the art was being done and getting towards completion, I went and ordered the rest of my parts from Viforce and arranged with them that they'll come pick it up and assemble everything. Well, we had some delays with the art, and there was a lot of little tedious little things that came up, and I had to keep having Viforce push it back. However, they have the best customer service. All they did is they're like, whenever you get the case painted, let us know. We'll arrange a time to have you send it to us, and we'll get it all taken care of for you. And the whole process was extremely painless. They took care of everything on their end. It was really easy to get them the case and get them to get it taken care of, and the cost was just phenomenal. If you go over to ViforceGaming.com, the case that I actually the computer that I actually purchased was based off the Momentum with a couple small changes, and the price it didn't break the bank. I did the 6-month same as cash financing that they have you do through PayPal when you get a computer from them. So I'm able to pay it off here month by month, and it's not going to cost me anything extra. It's been just absolutely wonderful, and I didn't expect it to. And I'm going to go into a little more detail of that process in the second half of the show. But make sure to go over to ViforceGaming.com. Check out their product lines and specifications over there, or you can just go over to HeroPowerHS.com, click on the Viforce link, and it'll take you right there.
All right, absolutely. So, like I said, we got a great show lined up for you. First thing I want to do is I want to welcome our new patron,
Oh yeah,
Jolly. We are
the
really
man.
glad to have you aboard. Some of you may remember Jolly sent us an email a couple weeks ago, so we are super glad to have you.
I have had the pleasure of hanging out in our Discord with Jolly. He loves to just sit and chat about Hearthstone, talk about decks, and just kind of chew the fat in the Discord voice chat while you're playing games. So it's a great addition to our channel. I've been in there with one of our old faithfuls, Turtools. Big shout out to him and Jolly, just talking about life and Hearthstone. It's so enjoyable to have a community that wants to sit and talk and be part of a community for Hearthstone.
Yeah, I agree. I gotta make sure Inked can see my shirt here. All right. Gotta
rep UT.
Brush it off for those Florida fans. All right. So this past weekend, I should say, we got to see the APAC HCT Spring Playoffs finally take place, and it was as good as the other events that we've seen leading up in the last few weeks. We ended up with a mix of known players and some new names coming out of the APAC. And our top 8 who competed ended up being Golden Flame, Gundam Flame, sorry, Treads Red, Virtual, Citizen Napa, Hone, Kranich, who we know.
Oh yeah.
Mayuko, and Mage.
You don't know Gundam Flame?
Yeah, Gundam Flame.
Gundam Flame sounds
and that's
familiar.
Matuko. That was a typo for me.
Okay.
But Gundam Flame is a rather well known, and he went into that top 8, and I immediately was like, okay, well, he's got to take this match, no problem. He had a really good set versus I think Matuko earlier in the Swiss rounds. Citizen Napa's kind of been in and out. Hone, I've seen him in a couple places. Kranich is really well known there. But Gundam Flame in the first round of the top 8 just got upset by Treads Red. And I've not heard of Treads Red yet, so he's kind of new in the scene that I know of. And we end up having our top 4 that's going to Shanghai: Treads Red, Citizen Napa, Kranich, and Mage. Now, did y'all watch any of these matches at all?
I did not.
I watched a few of them.
Yeah,
I follow Kranich, so I watched all of his.
Did you see Kranich actually brought Hunter?
I was a little shocked.
Yeah, he brought out Hunter, and it was kind of geared a little bit like a mid-range tempo, and it had some secrets in there to kind of counter the early aggressive starts. Because usually when you get to APAC, you get a mixture of European and American meta. So there was a good mix of mid-range control and aggro.
I was really surprised that more people weren't using Hunter to counter the early aggro, because Explosive Trap is so good against Pirate Warrior.
And I didn't even think about it until I saw on HGG they talked about it today. I was like, why am I not running Explosive Trap in my Hunter?
Now, Explosive Trap and Acidic Swamp Ooze just completely derails the Pirate Warriors early game. So I'm really, really shocked that we've not seen that as a counter. And so I always just imagined it was because their late game was so weak. But with Ungoro, Hunter's late game got a much needed boost. So I would expect to start seeing more Hunter if the aggro trend continues.
And the thing with Hunter is they have sticky minions, and that's something that's been really good with good mid-range decks in the past. And a lot of the classes have lost their sticky minions, but Hunter has kept their sticky minions. Either they have minions that come out in 2s or produce additional minions. They're hard to get rid of. Obviously, High Main's a staple in every deck. You got your infested the infested wolves. The produce the 1/1s. You got Rat Pack. You got alley cat, it's really hard for other players to keep up with their removal.
Let me tell you,
especially
though,
right now in the meta.
with Hunter, it almost feels like if Hunter gets Alley Cat or Fiery Bat into Crackling Razor Maw off the draw, they're so far ahead that you have to expend so many resources to keep up that, I've been absolutely demolished by some Hunter decks recently, even in the last week or two, playing things like Gunther Mage and playing. I've been playing a lot of Miracle Rogue, and if they get that start out of the gate, it can be really, really hard to catch up.
It really, Crackling Razor Maw is kind of it's the big cog that makes all the other little small cogs in the deck work.
Yes.
And if they can't develop it early, a lot of times they find themselves falling behind. And like I was saying, Hunter got that much needed boost in the mid to late game, but you actually didn't see that in Kranich's Hunter. In fact, I don't remember him playing a high main. The highest casting cost card I remember Kranich playing was Leroy.
And I haven't had a chance to look up his deck list yet.
I actually have it pulled up right here in front of me.
Okay.
He does not.
Let's see.
He does not run high mains in the deck.
Because he runs. Let's see. It was he ran Snake Trap, which I thought was a little weird. He runs the 2 Cloaked Huntress and Houndmaster. I want to say 2 Unleash the Hounds.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little. Let's see, what was the other card I was surprised to see? Flare. He runs Flare.
Yeah, he runs Flare.
I loved seeing Flare back in the look on his opponent's face. Like the first time they saw Flare played, it was just like, I loved it. I loved it. Completely taken back. And I don't even think, did he use it to expose the stealth? I think he just used it for card draw.
Yeah, I think in most cases he used it just for card draw. And they talked about that a little bit in HGG a little bit of how the Flare is so versatile. If you just need that card draw, you just pop it, or you can wait for the secret.
It's in there for Gunther Mage.
Oh, yeah. It's Gunther or Secret Mage, which now there's a hybrid of a Gunther Secret Mage that's basically Secret Mage with all the Discover stuff. But about the HCT APAC Spring Playoffs, Kranich did go out in the semifinals. He is going to Shanghai, but he lost to Mage, and so the finals was Mage and Treads Red, and Mage just dominated the tournament. Most of his victories are 3-0s and 3-1s, and he defeats Treads Red 3-0 to become the APAC Spring Champion. So we have, again, Treads Red, Citizen Napa, Kranich, and Mage going to Shanghai, with Mage taking the championship. Really good tournament. I think they did really good with the cast. The time, of course, was awkward to try to watch unless you watch it on the odds.
No,
but
not for me.
We will talk. Yeah, we will talk to. Or we will look at the some of the lists from APAC. We haven't really had much chance to yet, and maybe look at showing off that Hunter deck in the next couple of weeks.
I was gonna say we haven't done Hunter this cycle yet,
but we'll put it in the Discord at least.
Out yet.
Yeah. I know Versika loves to play Hunter, so maybe we.
Oh yeah, I love to play. But honestly, I did enjoy watching Kranich play his Hunter. So I don't know. I would play that deck. And I think right now, if you're looking for a good, fast ladder deck that isn't Pirate Warrior, I think Kranich's Secret Hunter is pretty good against. I don't think it's great against any one thing except Pirate Warrior, which you're going to get a lot of that. Yeah. But, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily bad against much except for maybe Control Priest, because you just don't have any late game. You can't get around that healing.
Speaking of enjoying watching Hunter, the Hearthstone Global Games have continued this week into week 9 of the first 10-week elimination or 10-week round robin. And you are seeing quite a bit. Of course, they have to bring all 9 decks. It's a team format. They have to bring all 9 classes. And Greenwich's Hunter kind of showed up a little bit this week. We're seeing that Hunter kind of become the new Hunter. And again, you can go over to playhearthstone.com and go to the esports section and check out all the details of the matches. But just to give a couple highlights, Belarus ends up upsetting Ukraine, one of the lone undefeated teams, ending Ukraine's undefeated streak. So the only 2 undefeated teams right now are United States at 4-0 and Italy at 4-0, because Malaysia was able to beat Canada last week, so they're out of it. And we had some good matches.
They're out of the undefeated, right?
Yeah, out of the undefeated. They're in second place in that group.
Yeah, they're very much still in.
Yeah, they're very much in the tournament. One of the teams that really rose that cream to the crop this week, today specifically, is Brazil. Brazil ended up beating Group A's first place team, Bulgaria, to solidify their first place stop. They had a rocky start. They went 0-1 to start out with and didn't have any real definitive wins going up, so they weren't sure if Brazil was really going to be able to take it. So Brazil pretty much is guaranteed into the next round. Bulgaria Bulgaria is in, because the only other team that could be in is China or Indonesia, and they both play each other. So you have Brazil and Bulgaria are definitely going on, and then either China or Indonesia, I believe they play next week. United States and Netherlands are pretty much in. The rest of that group is still undecided. Group C is really interesting because you have Russia and New Zealand right at the top. All the teams there seem to be pushing for 3-2 records, so it's going to come down to a lot of tiebreakers. And Australia is in that group, and that's a good, solid team, and they're just really didn't do well. They're 1-4.
Yeah, I watched somebody just blitz Australia Tuesday morning, I think.
New Zealand just destroyed Australia. There's some bad communication.
It was aggro.
Yep.
I want to say they had 2 hours allotted for their match, and I want to say they took like 25 minutes.
It was very fast, and Pathra did really well in that round. Group D, South Korea and Greece are sitting atop there, waiting to decide who's going to fit in that third spot. Group E, Italy is 4-0. The rest is still undecided yet between Israel, Norway, and Finland. But Italy's moving on. Group F is one of my favorite groups to watch. Malaysia has just dominated that group. They're 4-1. Canada, Denmark, and Belgium are kind of jockeying for those other three, the other 2 spots to make it to the next round. Canada at 3-1 should, with their record, should at least get the third spot, depending on tiebreakers. But right now they're sitting pretty in second. They have 1 game left. And our last group, Group G, my favorite group, is Mexico sitting pretty up top, 3-1, with Taiwan, Poland, Turkey, Singapore, and Vietnam all still vying for those other spots. And Mexico pretty much is guaranteed at least the top 3 in that group, but I think they're going to end up winning their next match, moving on. So you're starting to see the groups flesh out and be decided who is moving on to the round of 24. And it's just so much fun to watch. It's really good Hearthstone. I think the HGG is helping the meta change from day to day because they're having to get creative on a daily basis, because the meta is constantly needing to be evolved and countered in that tournament that's being done 3 days a week. So they don't want to bring the same hunter somebody brought on Tuesday on Wednesday because they'll assume that's what they're bringing. So they need to change the deck up a little bit. And I think the Hearthstone Global Games are keeping the meta fresh. Obviously, with the help of a great set from Journey to Angora. Yeah, what do you guys think of the Hearthstone Global Games?
Go ahead, Versika.
No, I'm still loving it. It is kind of coming to I feel like it's coming to a head.
Yes.
I don't know that anyone is surprised by anybody anymore. and I think that the teams that are either A, have a really, really, really solid player up top and maybe one other supporting underneath, I think those teams are they're so streaky, and the teams that have solid players from top to bottom, I think those are finally starting to edge out and start to really take command of the standings. And I think that's good for the game, because I think, you know, if you get into relying on one person in team-based Hearthstone, then you almost make decisions on your matchups based on getting that player the matchup that they want. But when you have everybody that you're comfortable and confident that they can get a win in any situation, it frees up so much versatility in your matchups. And I think that those teams going in, I think, are going to start. You're starting to see people pull away now, and I think here is something that you're going to be. I think from this point on, you're going to start to see them separate, and you're going to start to see two different packs emerge, and that's I guess what it was designed to do. So I like that the format is working out, and you know, like I said last week, I hope that they continue to do it. I hope this is something we see next year, because I've enjoyed watching it, but more than anything, I feel like it has kept the meta from getting stale.
The one thing I was worried about with the round robin is the fact that at one point you're mathematically eliminated from going on, but
Correct.
You still have to play your round robin matches. And I've seen this in soccer league games and even in the World Cup and Olympics where they're doing the round robins, and the team that's pretty much out, they're just out there running the course. Now there is a matter of national pride. Some teams buck up and they say, you know what, we're going to do our best to win this against a team that's guaranteed to go into it.
Well, that kind of happened today. The very first match of today was Portugal and Slovakia, and Portugal ended up running the table on them and winning 3-0.
Even though they can't get on.
Yeah, they don't have a chance of moving on.
And I liked seeing that. I was worried that the last 2 weeks would be boring because you have matches that don't matter, but they still are going out there for the pride of their country and the pride of their Hearthstone community.
That is what I like most about the global games.
They were voted in by the community, so they're out there. And I believe Brazil was even interviewed. Who's moving on? But they were saying we're out here for our Hearthstone community. Sometimes they hate us, sometimes they love us, but we're here to support them. And that's what I'm loving about the Hearthstone Global Games. It's really got me excited for Hearthstone because you're seeing the best of the best all around the world. In some areas, you have players that their best player just happens to regularly or most of the time hit top 500 legend. But that's their best player in their country. But they're going out there and they're trying to prove that they can compete with the top 10s in the world. Mm-hmm. And that's exciting to watch, to see some of these mind frames and see how they react and see how they go against the Pavels and the Dr. Hippies and the Amnesiacs. It's really refreshing.
See, I don't think they're scared.
No, they're not at all.
And I think that's what I like the most is I think you get online and you come up against a golden hero or you come up against a legend hero, and I think a lot of times you can psych yourself out because you think, wow, this player's probably got better cards than me. They've probably played in more tournaments than me. They've probably spent more time up top of the ladder than me. But when you think that way, it affects your play. Maybe you don't take a gamble that you should because you're overthinking the play, or you're afraid to maybe you're afraid to play an impact card because you're afraid that they have the counter to it right away, instead of playing the odds and realizing that their odds are almost exactly like yours.
Yeah.
Today, what was really neat is Germany. Now, there's been some drama around Germany, but Germany came out and Super JJ and Life Coach were playing, and they put out a Akanai Soul Priest and did Circle of Healing, knowing that on board their opponent can take out that Akanai. But if they didn't, they just happened to steal from their opponent a what was it, the Forbidden Healing. So the whole time you're just seeing them like stare at the screen, and they make some trades, and they're like they're poking each other. They're not gonna kill it. They're not gonna kill it. And then the last second they kill it, they're like, no. It's fun to see them, the players, get animated, get excited about these plays, these odds plays. And you do see some of the players that are playing against Pavel and Dr. Hippie and those standout players.
Right.
It does affect some of them, but some of them it doesn't. One of the notables, and I'm going to say it every week we talk about it, Epsilon. She is just impressing me with her level of play for being a quote unquote streamer and not a competitive Hearthstone player. I'm loving it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, this is just, I feel like this has just been really good for Hearthstone in general. And as Versika said earlier, I hope they do continue to do this next year as well. So, all right, guys, that means it's time for us to give something away.
Way.
Yeah, right. If you
we
guys
give things away.
Yeah. So if you guys don't follow us, every first Wednesday of the month, we give away a $20 Battle.net gift card to one of our loyal patrons. The only thing you have to do to be involved in the giveaway is be a $5 a month or more patron, and you have the chance to win that card.
Now let's stop talking about it and give it away now.
Oh. Wow. All right. So, as I said, all you have to do is be a $5 patron to get your name in the drawing. If you're a $10 patron, you get your name entered twice. If you're a $20 patron, you get your name entered 4 times, and so on and so forth. It improves your chances. So, without further ado, this month's winner of the $20 Battle.net gift card is Joseph Sanchez.
Rigged.
He won 2 months ago, I think. So, but he did, yeah. He's a $10 patron, so he has 2 chances to win. So, congratulations to Ducharmo on your Battle.net gift card. Somebody will be contacting you with the details shortly, sir. All right.
Oh, I got all the music references going crazy.
Yeah.
That's great.
All right. So that brings us to this week's Tavern Brawl, which is a new Tavern Brawl. It's called Just a Hallucination.
Oh, yeah.
It says, these aren't my beautiful cards. This is not my beautiful deck. Your deck is overflowing with hallucination. Go see how the other side plays. So
this is another music reference.
Yeah, so you pick a class, and then your deck is like half hallucination, half class spells, from what I can tell. And,
I didn't see any minions.
Yeah. Well, I know I actually cast I can't remember the name of the spell. Add 2 demons to your hand from your deck.
Yeah. Oh.
And it whiffed and gave me the 1/1s for 1.
Okay, so it doesn't have
there are no minions, or at least there were no minions in the Warlock deck.
So this is like the Portals version, but with hallucinations.
Yes. So we were actually talking about this around lunchtime when it launched in our patron Discord with our patrons. And I believe it was Ringo said, you should try Warlock. And so I was like, okay. So I log in, I queue in with Warlock, and face another Warlock. And so I mentioned it. We had a good laugh about it because now we're just playing regular Warlock decks with hallucinations. Yeah. And I ended up losing that game. I go into the next game and queue in against a Warlock.
Funny.
Come to find out, everybody's picking Warlock for the hero power to draw into extra hallucinations. Now, one of the things they don't tell you is that you do start this Tavern Brawl with 3 mana. So if you have 3 hallucinations in your opening hand, you can cast them all turn 1, and then cast something turn 4 and just be on a roll. But needless to say, I had a lot of fun with this brawl. In my 3rd game, I faced a rogue. I hallucinated into a Sherazin. I then hallucinated into the undead raptor that copies a death rattle and copied Sherazin. They both died. I had 2 Sherazins on the board, which it doesn't take anything to cast 4 spells when most of them are hallucinations. It was just a lot of fun. So I really enjoyed it.
I played Hunter. I was only able to play once today. And I played Hunter against a rogue and ended up beating him. But I got Obsidian Shard. And what Obsidian Shard says is reduce the cost by 1 for every card not from your class. So all those hallucinations are rogue cards. So every hallucination made it 1 cheaper. And I just basically was like, I'm just going to go on the burn plane because I kept getting eviscerate after eviscerate after eviscerate. I was just like, okay, so I just burned the face and beat him. I think it was turn 6.
Rosika, did you have a chance to play it?
I did. I actually went in as a rogue. Just when you get tavern brawls like that, my theory is that you play the class that the card is designed for, because you know you have interactions. So I ended up going up against a mage. Drew, my first hallucination netted me Mirror Entity. So I put Mirror Entity down. The first minion he played was Sherazin.
It's a Sherazin party tonight.
Yep, so I, of course, Mirror Entitied the Sherazin. Next turn, he took out mine, hit me for 5. So the very next turn, I hallucinated into another Mirror Entity, sapped his Sherazin, Mirror Entitied. He laid it again the very next turn, got another Sherazin, and then I got the card, the Mage Flames card that gives me a copy of all my minions on the board.
Reflection.
So I ended up with 4 Sherazins.
Wow.
So
awesome.
he wasn't very happy with me.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Needless to say, consensus, it's a pretty fun tavern brawl. If you want to just blow off some steam, kill some time,
get some quests done.
Get some quests done, yeah, absolutely.
Even though now the patches came out, you can do your quests with your friends. I'm loving it because when I do my THL matches, I can get my quests done now.
There you go. All right. Well, that brings us to this week's deck list. We talked about it briefly at the beginning of the show. This is a deck one of our patrons, Inposition, actually used to climb to Legend last month, at the end of last month. And it is the Aggro Druid. And so I'm going to run down the deck list, and then I'll turn it over to Zeroshio to kind of talk about it since he's driving tonight. This deck list includes 2 Innervate, 1 Bloodcell Corsair, 2 Enchanted Ravens, 2 Fireflies, 2 Mark of the Lotus, 1 Patches the Pirate, 2 Bluegill Warriors, 2 Mark of Yasarj, 2 Power of the Wild, 2 Murloc War Leaders, 2 Savage Roar, 2 South Sea Captains, 2 Swipe, 1 Bittertide Hydra, 2 Druid of the Claw, 1 Finja the Flying Star, and 2 Living Mana. So, Zeroshio, right before I turn it over to you, one of the first things somebody that might say looking at this list is 1 Bloodcell Corsair, 1 Patches, and 2 South Sea Captains? What's that about?
Yes. Okay, so there are a lot of varieties of this deck out right now. and Vicious Fledgling tends to be kind of the go-to. The dream is to innervate out a Vicious Fledgling. The problem with that is if they find a way to deal with that, that's pretty much your early big threat. And until you can get out your Bittertide Hydra or get to your Living Mana turn, you'll have trouble getting there. What this deck does, and this is kind of something the Imposition kind of teched in, is instead of the Vicious Fledglings, he's running Southsea Captains. And so for 3 mana, which is great if you can innervate out a Southsea Captain, you get a 3/3 and a 2/2 with charge. So you get immediate damage, especially if you're playing other aggro decks. You can clear a 1/2 Flame Elemental or 1/2 Firefly and still have your 3/3 on the board. Whereas if they came out with a quick start and have a couple minions, they could just double or triple trade into your Vicious Fledgling and it's done. Another point is it runs 2 innervates instead of 1, and a lot of that is specifically because you do have some big things in here like Bittertide Hydra, and it does run Druid of the Claw. Druid of the Claw is another good counter for if you need a quick taunt. It allows you to develop the board, or if you have a turn where you can Druid of the Claw and charge and follow it up with a Mark of the Lotus or even a Mark of your Charge. It's another target for Mark of your Charge, and you can have a 6/6 with charge. The big thing about Aggro Druid is you do empty your hand really fast. The Mark of your Charge does give you some draw, but where you kind of refill is with that Living Mana. So you have to time the Living Mana really well. If you can find a way to do it in a way to follow it up with a Mark of Lotus next turn, or even that turn if you have the mana, that's how you kind of end up winning. Bittertide Hydra is just amazing. If you can get it out there, especially early, an 8/8, it's just so hard right now in the meta for them to deal with that. There's no real spot removal. Meteor's about the only real big spot removal right now.
And
but
that's
yeah,
turn 6.
And that's turn 6. And if you can innervate or double innervate out of Bittertide Hydra, which I have done, the win rates on this really go up if you open up with innervate. You don't want to innervate late game. You don't want it anytime after turn 3. But it's a fun deck. I won a lot of games with it. And the only real big counter is Shaman, which is popular right now because Devolve will just wreck your face. Now, there are situations where if you can set it up late enough, you can put out Living Mana, and if they devolve, you still have a little bit of mana to buff up your minions. If they don't have an immediate removal to clear those minions they devolved, yeah, you lost mana, but you have 7 minions on the board. So it really doesn't matter. If you can mark a the Lotus the next turn, you're probably still going to win.
Okay. Versika, you had a chance to play this deck much?
No, I'm actually still in my experiment, so I won't be deep diving any decks this month.
Gotcha, that's right. I forgot you're running exclusively Miracle Rogue this month.
Correct. I mean, it looks solid. There's parts of it that when I look at it, I can see maybe that it might be a little streaky, but without being able to really get in and play it to the level that I normally play before the shows, I'm hesitant to make any judgments on it. Okay. I see strengths. I see a lot of strengths. I see a lot of weaknesses. I don't see a lot of middle ground. So it looks like a deck that's either really going to work or really going to blow up on your face.
Well, I'll tell you now, when I first saw it, that's exactly what I thought too. But Imposition said, hey, give it a try. And I was kind of desperate. And I was like, okay, I'll try his list as is, and then I'll make some tech changes. I was really expecting to pull out the pirate package and put in some more solid minions and, of course, Vicious Fledglings. But it just works. Mm-hmm. And he had the Hearthstone replay data, and he showed it to me, and your win rates are greatly increased when you actually get Innervate and Southsea Captain more than any other card.
Okay. So we have a question from the chat. Boyd asks, what's a good substitution for the water package?
if you're not a fan of the water package or you just don't have Finja, you can just put in Vicious Fledgling wouldn't be bad here. You could probably put in a couple tar creepers just to protect your board so you can go wide for a good Mark of the Lotus or was it Power of the Wild?
Mm-hmm.
Those would be good substitutions. If there was anything to take out of here, it may be the water package. I really do like when I can get it to work, but more times than not, you're just getting your bluegills out there to clear some minions so that you can get solid buffs on them.
Okay, cool. All right, well, that I think is going to wrap up the audio portion. Do you guys have any last thoughts you'd like to add to the show before we move on? Versika, we'll start with you.
Not really for Hearthstone. I'm looking forward to watching the regions clash at this next playoff. But I think for right now, I'm still watching global games. For right now, I'm pretty excited about the next clash that's coming out in Heroes that'll be happening this weekend. So that's where my attention is going to be this weekend. So if you haven't really checked out Heroes in a while, you're going to see some great heroes being played this weekend. And other than that, like I said, I'm still doing my experiment with the Miracle Rogue, trying to prove that free to play is still somewhat viable. And I mean, really, that's it. Not much else going on as far as Hearthstone with me. And we got DreamHack coming up. It's about a month away, so super excited about that.
Yep. 6 weeks. 6 weeks.
So
I'm counting the days, baby.
Pretty excited. So yeah, and I'm letting you guys deep dive in these decks, so that's kind of exciting too. I'm anxious to see what you guys do with it since I'm taking a break from it for a few weeks.
All right, Zeroshio.
Really is the big thing I got to talk about is esports. Hearthstone esports is starting to kick up. You're gonna see DreamHack Atlanta. There's gonna be some notable names there, like a really attractive player named Zeroshio. He's going to be at DreamHack Atlanta, and maybe he'll get on a couple of the featured matches.
I hear he's not quite as sexy as his computer, but
that's true. That's true. That's people like the pictures of my computer more than me. But just have fun on Hearthstone. You're probably going to hear, and my guess is in the next 2 weeks, we're going to get a tease or some kind of announcement of the next set that's coming out. And I project we might actually see the next set, which will probably be Dalaran themed, with the card back that's been released for June. June's card back is the Magic of Dalaran. So I think they're kind of giving us a little teaser that Dalaran's going to be the theme. I don't know anybody who has predicted that yet. Other than another attractive podcaster by the name of Zeroshio. He predicted it a few months ago. But hopefully this isn't another Pirates versus Ninjas thing, and I actually get this one right. So that's my final thoughts.
All right. Well, Inked in chat's final thought is if you want to be on a featured match at DreamHack, you should leave that ugly hat at home.
Yeah, it's the ugly hat or it's this.
Okay? Oh, put it back on. Put it back on. Oh.
I'm aging. My hair is thinning. I got to get a haircut.
Oh.
So.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, if you are joining us on Twitch or YouTube, please stay tuned for the live play portion of our show. If you are listening via our audio podcast, we'd like to thank you for joining us. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at HeroPower_cast. You can find all of our past episodes on YouTube at youtube.com/ECMMOgamers or on our website at HeroPowerHS.com. If you enjoy the show or you would like to join us in our patron-only Discord or to be able to participate in our Hero Power tournaments that we run quarterly, you can do so by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/heropower. And we will see you again next week.
Don't forget to use your hero power.
All right, guys. While we are getting set up to do the play portion here, we're going to let Zeroshio tell you a little bit more about his experience with Vi-Force.
All right, so I have told you all that I had an artist work on my case. He had some stuff going on. He had a lot of stuff going on with his personal life, and it pushed things out. The Vi-Force team was extremely understanding. They said, we have your parts. As soon as you're ready, let us know. And I did. They were excited, as I was, to see the case. We had a bunch of people really excited to see how well this was going to work once the lighting was put in. So they met up with me. We traded it out. He said, hey, I'll have this to you as quickly as possible. And, when you're dealing with a custom company, you're going to have some time. It's going to take them time to do this. Well, fortunately, they had worked ahead to make sure all my hard drive was ready, and pretty much all they had to do is put the parts in, run a stress test, and do a full test of the system to make sure everything's working right. He had to be back the next day. Now, that's not always going to be the case because sometimes distance and shipping and all that, but the fact that they were able to have it to me the next day tells me the level of customer service and customer care that they have is just through the roof. And he took all kinds of pictures for me and was really excited to have their product as well as our brand out at DreamHack. And they are a bunch of gamers that have the same passion as I do. And they have a wonderful product that's better than any other company for the price. And their customer service just goes through the roof. And he told me, he said, you ever have any issues, you just give me a contact and we'll take care of it. Well, there was a small issue when I received it. The wrong version of Windows was put on it. It is actually an upgraded version, and that was a mistake on their side. Well, they got me a new key within like 15 minutes and said, don't worry about the extra cost. We'll take care of that because that was on our end. Wonderful customer service. They handle it very quickly, and I can't be happier. That's a 5-star rating only because I can't go any higher.
All right. Awesome. Well, are we ready to rock some Aggro Druid?
Yeah, I'm ready. Give me just a quick second.
All right.
Gotta love getting messages while you're podcasting. Let's see, Aggro Druid. There we go. All right, I'm ready. You ready?
I'm ready.
I find it very difficult to do the Vi-Force ad while you're also driving. So big shout out to Versika. That was actually tougher than I thought.
Thanks.
Like, oh gosh, I have to play.
Let me know when you have an opponent.
I have an opponent.
All right. Still not showing I can spectate.
Oh. There you go. Sorry.
Appreciate that.
I have to turn spectate off during my THL matches per league rules, so
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I forgot to turn it back on. So, Mulligan, really you're looking for the top 5 cards in the deck list.
Innervate, Bloodsail, Enchanted Raven, Firefly, Mark of the Lotus.
And if you're on the coin, you could probably keep something like South Sea Captain, but I'm going to ditch this whole hand because I don't have an Innervate. If I had an Innervate, I might keep the Finger or Bittertide Hydra. Probably the Hydra against Shaman because they're not running Hex or only running Devolve. If I can get them to Devolve one target, that's just money.
Okay.
So we got Mark of the Lotus, South Sea Captain, Firefly, and Murloc Warleader. This is actually a really good hand.
All right. So turn 1 Firefly then?
Yep. That's
And
pretty
then
much.
probably a turn 2 coin South Sea Captain?
That's what I'm looking at. I want to see what he puts out first. We might just use the other Flame Elemental and Mark of the Lotus just to get some board presence.
Looks like he's just going to hero power and pass.
So the coin South Sea looks really good here because we can use patches to clear the totem. Against this new version of Shaman, you want to clear anything that hits the board.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going to do here.
So, just for the listeners, why wouldn't you consider the Flame Elemental into Mark of the Lotus to give him a board to have to try and clear?
The main reason is this gives a more solid board, and it has one main threat. I can always throw down a minion and Mark of the Lotus next turn if he doesn't do anything major. See, this is perfect. With the other play, we would not have had enough damage
that's a great
to clear
draw. That's a great
Doomsayer.
draw. So
yeah.
Now we can Raven, Flame Elemental, Mark of the Lotus, and create a wide,
clear.
big board.
Yep. And then we're going to clear this Doomsayer, of course.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Doomsayer ran much. Makes me wonder if he's not running a Devolve package.
I think you're probably right.
If he is running Devolve, we're probably going to see it, but I think it would have been a snap play.
Yeah, I don't think he's got it.
I think he's hoping for spell damage. Well, no, I don't think he has AoE because he would have done it there.
Well, he didn't really have the mana to do it. I think he's hoping that you're not going to kill the Blood Mage because you don't want him to draw a card.
We're going to do with our face.
Yeah, and I don't want to commit anything more to the board because board clear would wreck us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead. Yeah, I like using the face to clear the Thalnos here.
Use one of the fire elementals to kill the totem.
Yeah, because we don't want any totems on the board.
That sends
anything white at all.
12 damage to face on turn 4.
On turn 4. This deck is just builds up so fast. And the good thing is if he does clear this, we have Living Mana, we have Bittertide Hydra, we have Druid of the Claw, we have so many threats.
There's the Volcano.
I think it's going to leave something alive.
Yep.
It left pretty much the best minion we could find there alive.
So what do you think of going Living Mana here into Mark of the Lotus next turn?
I like that.
Versika,
what do you think, Versika?
I think this is where you put the pedal to the metal.
Druid of the Claw in charge?
I think you Druid of the Claw charge and go face.
I like that.
7 damage to face. That brings him down to 8. Yeah.
That forces him to have to react.
Yep.
Yes. That was. I like the Living Mana play, but I think Versika's got the right idea. Yeah. Decapitato. I love the names. Decapitato. Oh, I thought potato. Food, fat guy.
Oh, he got his.
He got the Maelstrom Portal, which is
the Maelstrom Portal.
Is that lethal?
No.
Hold on. 4,
Clear.
5, 6, 7. We're 1 off of lethal.
Yeah.
But that just means that he has to put something out next turn, where you just kill him.
Yeah, a bluegill wins it. Do we push the issue?
I think we just push lethal.
Okay.
I agree.
So Savage Roar into go ahead and Mark of the Lotus it too?
Yeah.
To get him down to 1?
Yep.
I like that because our hero power is now lethal unless he heals because he is running Volcano and Doomsayer, so he might have heal packages in here, but he's not going to heal for more than 6.
There's
the 6.
Yep.
And there's the Hex. That opens the door for our Bittertide Hydra. Now, do we go wide and go Living Mana, which can be punished by AoE, or do we go Bittertide, which is punished by Hex?
I think you go Bittertide Raven since we just
Here's the
saw
problem
Hex.
with Bittertide. If he runs 2 Volcanoes, we lose the game because of the damage to Bittertide.
I think you Living Mana Enchanted Raven go really wide and force him to have an answer.
Okay. So
We'll play the
we're
Raven
gonna
first.
play the Raven first. That'll give us 2 mana to end the next turn.
Mm-hmm.
Living mana. So next turn we'll be at 2. So if we get any kind of buff, we can cast it. Other than Savage Roar, but he has to clear something.
He has to clear 2 of them.
Or play.
Well, not now.
Or
but
heal and play a taunt. Yeah.
He's still in a bad spot. I mean, any kind of buff when we win.
Bingo.
Is that enough?
I think it is with hero power. Oh, we can't do both in hero power. That's right.
Yeah.
No, he's going to be down to 1.
Yeah, that's okay.
Again. I'm fine with it because it gives us our mana back for next turn.
Yeah.
So 2 of the doesn't because it doesn't kill them off, but that's fine. It leaves. Do we do any clear at all, or just go face?
Go face. Put him back down to 1.
I agree.
I mean, he's got to do 30 points of damage.
Yeah. Decaf Potato in the chat. What's up, Dave? Howard the Dave. One of my buddies. So he's still... Hex.
Oh, he's digging now.
He's doing everything, but I think he's done.
Yep, he is.
Yep, there it goes.
All right, there's game 1.
The Decaf Potato. This deck is just explosive. Now, it has trouble against Shaman because of the Maelstrom Portal, as well as Lightning Storms in some of the builds, and, of course, Devolve.
Yeah. Now, starting this week, when this show goes up on our website tomorrow, if you guys want to play this deck, I will have the deck code in the post on our website. So all you have to do is copy and paste it. We're going to try to make it as easy for you guys as possible to try these decks that we play each week.
So we're going first. We want to keep Enchanted Raven always. Mm-hmm. It's in the top 5 cards. You even usually want to keep Market Lotus even. But that's probably it. We'll ditch the Living Mana and the Savage Roar.
Okay. And we're playing against a mage this time.
This is it's a pretty good matchup. I've won this matchup. You just kind of have to put your threats out there in bursts. Right. Because they do get a lot of removal. If you can get rid of their burn, that's solid. I think I'm going to go ahead and enchant a Raven. He's either going to put out something with 3 health, which I can trade with my hero power next turn, or he's going to clear it. Sound good to you guys?
Yep.
Either way, it either gets rid of a Frostbolt, or it sets up so we can clear a Mana Worm or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, he has to react to it.
Yeah.
He can't afford... But he didn't.
Nice.
He didn't, so we can clear it. We can't clear it and let it live.
No.
What do you think of clearing it and then developing the 3/2 Panther?
I like it.
Because it puts him in the same position he was last turn.
Yeah, that's fine.
Usually you want to pressure face, but...
Because if he doesn't deal with it, next turn he's going to get hit with the Panther and a 2/2 patches.
Exactly.
Right, but it's a very valuable buff, so I hate to use it so early.
Yeah, that's true, but it got rid of a Frost.
Yeah.
And we draw into another one,
so we're all
it's
good.
Great.
Brasika's like, we're all good here. Let's move on.
That's how we do it at Hero Power. When we need a card, we just draw it. So here, South Sea Captain?
Yep.
And see, this is 2 minions he has to deal with on 3 mana. And it's just out of the range of a volcanic potion. Lackey, okay. Could be counterspell. It's popular. He's setting up for either volcanic potion or a bump clear.
So I think we power the wild into turn them into a 4-3 and a 3-3, and send patches to face.
Well, what about using your hero power to clear the 2/1?
Yeah.
Yeah,
well?
that's what.
Yeah.
Okay.
Finish up with that.
I think this is counterspell, which I don't mind this getting counterspell
It is.
because it makes sure our living mana isn't counterspelled later.
Or
So
Savage
that's-
Roar.
Mm-hmm.
Or Savage War. Yeah, either one. We're probably gonna Finja next turn if he puts any minions down.
I think that's the smart play.
If he doesn't,
think-
we might Druid the Claw. Ooh.
Interesting.
What do you
We
think
that's
about?
mirror entity.
I was gonna say, if you think that's mirror entity, what do you think about Bluegill Warrior and then hero power? Or Bluegill Warrior into Savage Roar and just send it all face.
We could do that.
I think I like testing for mirror entity, but you have two creatures on the board right now
Uh-huh.
that if you go Druid of the Claw and make it a 4/4 with charge, you can clear it with patches and South Sea Captain and not lose much and keep a healthy 4/4 on the board, which doesn't die to Volcanic Potion.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
So charge.
I think so.
I like it. I like that play. We just go face.
Yep.
It could be another counterspell. It's obviously not ice barrier or
It's
potion of
Ice
Polymorph.
Block or Counterspell.
Yeah.
Could be mana bind or spellbender, but I mean they're still in there. This is a full package.
Yes, it is.
Ooh.
So, what do you think about just doing it again?
I think the same play.
Yep.
Do we net more damage from Bluegill Savage Roar though? Is that lethal if we Bluegill Savage Roar? It's not counterspell.
There is no way one of those is not counterspell.
Okay, so Drew the Claw in charge.
I think so.
Get him to 1, or do we clear something? Here comes the mirror entity. I said we
Okay.
just go face.
I think you just go face 2.
Yep.
Make him clear.
Yeah.
This puts him at 1, allows us to pop the block next turn.
Yep.
And we hold the
At
Bluegill
1.
Warrior for lethal.
Yes. Because there's not really any heal. Yeah, we have lethal in hand, but the threat of counterspell is what we were worried about. Worst play. Nibble says worst play ever.
And
It won
that's
us the game.
I was getting ready to say, it really didn't matter.
What's
We were
Savit
going to
say?
win
It's
that regardless.
not a misplay if you win. If you win the game at the end.
Yeah.
Wow, those are 2 quick wins, and I got my 40 gold for my quest. Sweet.
All right. Well, guys.
Did we
that's-
2-0
that's
it?
We
call it a
2-0'd it. Yeah.
So yeah, play this deck. I had lots of reservations when I saw it, mainly because of the pirate package. I thought, I didn't mind the pirate package so much, but the South Sea Captain, I was like, I don't know about that. I'd rather have the Vicious Fledgling, but no, it's great value. It puts 2 threats on the board instead of just 1. And then if they have to kill the South Sea Captain and not the patches, you buff patches up next turn.
Oh. How
Captain is great.
How long's Hearthstone been out? 4 years?
Yeah, we're counting alpha. Yeah,
Counting Alpha. That's
That's your first Sword of Justice.
my first Sword of Justice I've ever pulled.
really.
Yep. I haven't even
Man can't pull epics, but he can pull every legend that exists in the
I've never
world.
crafted one either, so that's the first one I've ever owned on my account. So
Wow, that's
all
amazing.
right.
I wish we're talking about changes coming. I wish when you open the pack, it would tell you new or something on the bottom to denote that you didn't have it.
Yeah. Yeah, if I didn't
You
know
don't have
my
all your
collection
cards
as well as
memorized?
I do. Yeah.
All that I have in my collection, no
Slacker.
changes.
All right, so Zeroshio, you just gave us your last thoughts on this deck. Versika,
Yep.
what do you think after seeing it in action?
I honestly, and I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way. It's a very typical aggro deck, which means even if you misplay, the likelihood of you getting punished to the point of losing the game is probably pretty slim until you get into the very high ranks. So
Yeah.
if you're looking for something to climb the ladder quickly and just pushing out games, you're either going to lose really fast or you're going to win really fast. And I mean, just in looking at this, know when you've lost, know when what you have left in the deck
Mm-hmm.
will not be able to overcome what your opponent has healed through or what they have teched against, and just concede and move on. And that's so weird for me to say.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to climb, this is a good deck to climb with. It's very forgiving. Just know your card so you know when to call it and move on to the next game. And you can get a lot of games played with this deck this season.
Absolutely. All right, guys. I believe that's going to do it for us this week. If you have any questions or comments about the show, please email us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button below on YouTube and give us a follow on Twitch to be alerted when we go live. For more details on our Patreon, you can find that at patreon.com/heropower. And until next week, guys, good gaming.
Bye, guys.